How's it going? Hope you're having a great day. I'm so stoked. I have a whole new audio setup, as you can tell, I'm sure, because it's just completely different. I have the Rodecaster Duo with the Warm Lifter with the Shure SM7B. That was SM7B. So I went just full send, balls deep. It was just it was something it was well overdue for sure. It's like one of those things where you know with photography, I've always used like video and podcasts even. I've done a lot of podcasts with 2 different I had Quest of the Art Life. Don't remember how many episodes, but it was a bunch. And then I had Photographiliac, which that was a good amount too. I know that was over 50 episodes. And, it's all just like, about the art life and photography and, it's not like how back in the day where like, you would just try to get in the magazines, which those days were there's nothing like those days where like you would go get the magazine and it was cool as like back then. And now it's a different type of cool. You know what I mean? Like it's to me, that's where I get excited to make, you know, certain things. And I think getting the projects just available on the website, bsmitty.com now, instead of only being available as print, um, brought a whole new excitement as well. Like Ciphers and Stillness, my most recent project was straight up from the archives and is one of my favorite projects. It was just something that like, I was like, there's a few photos I looked at that I really liked and I was like, what can I build off these photos? And just, made a project out of that. And it was a really fun process to do that. And I'm excited to get my next project going. That's the thing I'm struggling with right now is getting the next project going, but I know I want new photos in it. So I'm gonna give myself a little time. I gotta be patient. I can't just drop projects all the time for sure, even though I want to. But anyways, already drifting off. So yeah, o- over the years, as I was mentioning, I've used like video and all that kind of stuff to, show my photography work and my quest of the art life. And you know, over the years, I've upgraded little things and sold things to get these other things, and just kind of like made just things work. You know what I mean? Getting things out there. And one thing I never really went too aggressive with or too far into is like the audio side of things. Uh, so I've always used like with this type of setup and even like when I did podcasts and whatnot, is the Zoom H4n. And I've had a couple microphones, but my most recent one with that was the Rode Pod mic. It's a good setup. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it's a good setup. You know what I mean? It's not like anything special. You're not going to sound the greatest. But it does all right. You know what I mean? It's better than, going the cheap end of the road, and then it was like the middle of the road type thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. You know what I mean? So it worked. But I think how I've been evolving my content, especially um, the past few months here, and with these new projects I've been working on, and I started doing these editing videos that like I'm really hyped to continue to do, and that was like what really got me thinking about audio. Is I made this thing, I was like, man, it just doesn't sound that great when you're like continuously listening. I think like a short video, it's everyone's used to short videos and phones and stuff like that. So it wasn't really too noticeable for me in the sense of like I should like really look into this. But when I was like editing that, I was like, all right, I think it's time to look into that. And I wasn't even thinking of anything too crazy. I was just like, and I at first thought I was like, I need a new microphone. That was like the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, it just, I was like, maybe the Rode Pod mic is it's $99, so it's like not expensive, but that. So in my head, I'm like, well, that's probably the problem, which usually that's the case with things. And I was like, so I started looking. I was like, what are people using? Now, obviously, this microphone here. You see it everywhere. Everyone has this microphone. It's a Shure SM7B, but I didn't really know too much or else beyond that. Like I knew of the Roadcasters just by being you know a nerd. So I knew about it. I knew how cool it was. But at first I was like, it's just like I was like overkill because of like podcasting. You if you have like guests and there's like you have all these sliders and like that's it makes sense for that. And I was just like, once I was looking into it, I was like, all right, the Rodecaster Duo is exactly kind of what I would need. I can have another person, plugged in and all that with this, but it's exactly what I need for myself. So I can, have, music in there, sound effects, that type of stuff. But, most importantly, it powers what I need to power to have this really, really proper audio that you hear from the major players out there. So, and it's like one of those things too. I learned a lot um, by getting this. I didn't know anything about like the detail of audio, behind the scenes of audio, but I learned a lot in the basically 21 hours of me getting this all set up. I did legit spent that much time. I wanted this dialed in like the best I could, and it's not 100% because of the way I talk. Like I drag on words and stuff, so I have this like pretty aggressive. There's a thing called a noise gate, which I never knew of before, but I know all about the noise gate now. But anyways, there's an attack and hold and all that kind of stuff, and raise. There's a lot of stuff going on, but like basically, it's how fast. Like once I start talking, like it like picks up, and then how fast it closes. And I went pretty aggressive with that because of like I tend to like drag on words, like or like have like just little audibles, afterwards, like just it's like I'm like the dude from the Big Lebowski or something like that. I don't know, but um, with all this tests, like I actually made 72 videos of me doing background tests and me, talking and then going in the background and talk, like just kind of like just doing the same test over and over. I want it to be like pretty much the same. And within that, I've actually gotten better at talking because I'm trying to like be like aware of how I'm talking and not just like drifting too far and that type of stuff. So, um, and I'm trying to get better at that too, like the ums and so's and all that. But that's gonna again, I'm from Ohio, so it's it's a process. So again, I said so. Again, I'm from Ohio, but with all that being said, the whole process has been a lot of fun. This was really fun for me because it's something I've never done. I didn't know anything about audio, so it was really fun to learn all of it. The most annoying part where I spent like really late into the night and then part of today is for some reason, like all of a sudden it just wasn't outputting correctly. And so I had like, and this is a software issue. This is not Roadcast microphone. This is just a OBS software. And I think I was just doing like so many changes and so many this and that. I think I just had to take things out, put things in. And I also made some new sources for the channels, and that solved the problem. But it was like one of those things. It took a long time to figure out exactly what I needed to do because like I thought it was like something. Oh, did I do something to the roadcast? Did I do something? Did I bump something? Whatever. You know what I mean? So that was fun. But besides that, yeah, it was cool getting to learn all this stuff. So basically, what I got here, I guess I should tell the story too of like why. I mean, I told the story why I got it, but I wasn't. Again, I was just thinking about a better microphone. I sat down 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, and I was gonna make a new editing video. And the Zoom H4n, I always had this problem with my older Mac setup and my new Mac setup. I mean, they have new computers every like 6 months, I feel like, but my like pretty much new MacBook Pro that's like really nice, decked out. Um, it would just when I would turn it on, I'd have to turn it off. I'd have to do all these like weird things. Even in OBS, I'd have to change the source and then back to the source H4. It was like this. I knew what to do and it would work, and I have to do like a test recording, make sure it was recording properly. Because if I didn't, I would just straight up sound like a chipmunk or something like that. Because I'd have to change from 44.1 to 48 because it wouldn't auto do it, and I think that caused the issue or the reset. Anyways, this is like the troubling things of like being a creator, I guess, is like these technical issues. But anyways, that wasn't even the problem because I've been doing that for years. Um, is when I sat down and I was doing that, and then like just like I was working on it, I was like, man, I just don't like. I want it to sound good, like because it was kind of what I was about, is me talking about these photos, and like I just I did one, and I was like, and it wasn't like a 40-minute one because I don't that 40-minute one's like a lot longer than normal. I don't mind doing those for sure, but I wanna have, like, a couple photo edits out there where they're like 5-minute videos, 10-minute videos, that type of thing. So anyways, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna look into this." So that's when it's like the Rodecaster, blah, blah, blah. And cool, cool. I definitely want this microphone because it sounds great. That's what again, the main players have. So went online. I was like, well, the place by me that has it all is Guitar Center. So I drove out to Guitar Center, and and that's when I learned about, because I didn't find this in my, 'cause I didn't really research of, like, setting it up. I just knew, like, "Oh, cool, the Rodecaster would be perfect for this year." Like, that's what I saw, cool, that's what I want. Like, I didn't dive deep into it until afterwards, but when I was there, like, "Oh, you're probably gonna want a lifter." No idea what that meant. Um, but yeah, you definitely need it. I mean, you don't need it, but you should get it. Like, you can plug this microphone directly into the Rodecaster with the XLR cable directly in, but it's gonna be extremely quiet, so it's gonna bring the gain up to make it, proper, which, is fine, but you're not gonna get, like, just the super clean sound. You'll have a little bit of, like, artifact sound, whatever you wanna call it. So what a lifter does is it gives you clean gain. So it pushes it up, I think 26 gain, plus 26 gain of clean gain. So when this was set up in, like, the preset for, like, podcast, I think is 55. Right now, I'm able to have, and that's like to be at this volume. And so this volume had to be at 55. I have it down to 29 with clean gain. So if I went to 29 normally, you just wouldn't be able to hear me. What I have to do is jack up post production audio, and it would just sound terrible, and it just wouldn't work. So a lifter is definitely worth it. They have a new version of this microphone out now too that actually has a built-in lifter, but once I like, 'cause I literally looked into that there, 'cause I was like, "Oh, it's a lifter," so I looked into it, and the way I thought about it, I was like, "You know what? It's the same price because the one with the built-in lifter is more expensive than this microphone." So I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna go tried and true," because it looked different, so that's how I was able to know, like, okay, I haven't seen anyone with that. I haven't seen that microphone before. So I was like, I'm going the classic route. I know it sounds good, and it doesn't bother me to have an extra thing sitting. And I actually kinda like how it's there too. It's just another one of those, like, physical items. So, with that, you need a second XLR cable, which I had XLR cables already. So I just needed to so I got the warm lifter. I know there's a lot of talking there to get all that out, but basically, I got the Rodecaster Duo with the warm lifter connected to the Shure SMB7. Um, SM7B, I always wanna get those mixed up. But, yeah, so that's the setup. I'm hyped. I also got this headset too. It's a Sony MDR 7506. And I also love how it says, studio monitor. And I've seen it a bunch since I've been, like, again, 21 hours of working on it. I'm like, I think that's some, Beast MIDI merch. Studio monitor. Like, I always talk about how I'm in the studio. I think that's, would be pretty awesome. And I'm gonna cut myself off there. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.